And
Okay.
so our first, we'll call the meeting to order. The first thing is the approval of the meeting minutes, and that's on me for not getting them to Mark. Mark, I will get them to you. I have some notes from the last meeting, which we'll call together. So we don't even have that. So we'll move directly into citizens petitions and comments. So to see if we've heard anything from our fellow citizens. So Mark, the only one here that I'm aware of is the one from Ms. Meany. Do we want to talk about that here, or do we want to? I know it wasn't directed at us, it was directed to the RTM and to the Groton Town Council.
Right. Yeah, that's up to you where we discuss that.
I think we discuss it later,
Okay.
but that's the only one that I'm aware of at this point. Anybody else?
Nothing from the men's side.
Well, yeah, so that would come to new correspondence and communications. So Maria, I don't know if you have anything from the women's side.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, so just a few bullets that our executive board held its second meeting of the year on March 16th. And our season long Ladies' Day tournament begins on Saturday, April 29th for the weekend players, the 29th, 30th, and Tuesday, May 2nd for those majority who play on Tuesdays. There's going to be some changes to how Tuesday groups are determined to try to make it more, less standardized, so make it more flexible and versatile. So there's some changes coming up. Also, we're going to reinstitute the scorecard box in the pro shop. We've used technology to do all of our communications with scorecards, but we found the scorecards are just really a lot of data to collect and try to then look at. So we're going to put back some of those traditional ways that we managed ourselves on those Tuesdays. Second one is our membership is really robust. There's potentially 8 to 10 new members. Has raised their rates, and 3 ladies are coming over from Fenwick, and another woman from Pequot. And I spoke with someone today just kind of casually, and Summers at Groton Long Point, she's interested. So I think I really want to just thank my third item, Park and Rec, for the work that Jessica Patterson and the support of the department for the webpage. I think I know people find us that way. And just having our important documents or handbook posted, our bylaws, membership form, just makes it very easy to communicate among ourselves as well with potentially new members. Our spring general meeting is going to be at Par 4 on April 11th. That's by bylaws, we have a spring and a fall membership meeting. And as I might have mentioned in January, or in fact, many women played golf this winter, including myself. It was a good winter to play golf, and we just kept on swinging the clubs out there. So thank you, Eric and your crew, and Todd, and all the people that supported that. It was, some days were colder than others, but it was a lot of fun. As a board, we said that we'd like to support any efforts for the 125th Shinnecock anniversary that may be coming forth. And I'm just going to end with a question. Last year, that June Women's Golf Month was so successful. Many people appreciated it. And I'll just leave that question on the floor. Is that something that Park and Rec is considering for this year? I've been asked by a few people. Okay, that's what we have. Any questions?
For me.
Or anything you'd like to add, Margaret?
No, I think that covers it. I think the number of new members are joining the women's group don't know how many of those translate into full memberships or memberships of the golf course or season pass holders for the golf course. But it's still, it's a nice to see an increase in the number of women out playing, and the only thing that I would ask her is if there needs to be an extension of the number of holes that are granted to the women on Tuesday morning.
Yes, that's definitely, if the numbers pan out, we would definitely want to maybe be able to start on hole 2 or whatever the we may need that. We may need an extra hole or so, but to be determined. But you're right, Margaret. It could be, if possibly, it could be. That 9-hole option too it was slow, a small group, but those small group of women players really appreciated it. And as I talked to people, new potential people, they like that. And I think we all really appreciate that. So thank you for making that happen. Just it's like an easy thing to do with some really great benefit.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other correspondence or communications? All right, with that, we'll move on to the golf course report. Todd, we have Todd? No.
Todd here.
Doesn't look like Todd is here.
Todd's not here. Okay,
All right, well, I can jump in his
Okay.
absence. So both February and March, we continue to track ahead of last year. As Marie mentioned earlier, the weather certainly was favorable in February, and I think January also, to encourage golfers or entice golfers to come out and play. And like I said, that has continued into March. March, I think, was a little bit, seemed like it was cooler than February.
Mhm.
But yeah, we continue to track ahead of last year, which was our best year. Of course, you always have to look at this a little cautiously. The last 2 weekends we've had rainy Saturdays, and looking ahead, this Saturday looks good, but you always worry about, I think, what happened in 2018 or 2019, where we had like 12 weekends in a row where it rained. So we're cautiously optimistic that this trend will continue.
I think that would be really good if it did. Any questions about just a numbers check thing. The only one is on the March 2023 report in terms of the weather events. The number of events are very similar. In fact, last year, maybe a few more. And yet the estimated lost rounds is significantly less. And maybe that's due to the weekends versus weekdays along those lines, but that's the only thing here that kind of stands out for me. It's that
Yeah, I
estimated.
think the previous year, the number of weekend was an additional day. And on a good weekend, although I don't know if this is the correct number for the winter time, but we can generate a fair amount of revenue on a weekend day. So that one additional day, although the difference of $8,000 seems a little high.
Yep. Especially since the lost rounds are significantly, it's just interesting. But
The number of lost rounds looks out of whack.
Yep.
Let's see.
Other than that, I think it looks okay. And while you're looking at that, the other thing that I find interesting is that the number of senior limited season passes that have been sold is more than double what it was this time last year. So I think that bodes well for kind of the use of that particular pass, which I think is good. And the number of youth is up.
Yes. Yeah, those are certainly, the number of youth playing is encouraging.
Yep. No, I think it's good. Excellent. Anybody else with any questions? Thoughts? Okay, we'll move on. Marketing report.
We are marginally ahead of our last year from January 1st to April 1st.
Mhm.
The number of men and women engaged on Facebook is shifting slightly. I think last year it might have been 78 or 79% men, and this year it's dropped to 26, and the percentage of women that are engaging on Facebook has gone up. So I think that's encouraging. We've, since January 1st of this year, we've picked up 12 additional followers. 98% of our users are through the Facebook page is through their mobile devices.
Okay.
And the highest engagement continues to be the Wildlife Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of upcoming marketing, the days best of voting starts April 9th
Okay.
through the 30th, and Shinnecock is again nominated for the best golf course, and Jessica is going to start putting together a social media campaign to remind golfers to vote.
Okay.
For Shinnecock. I think Marie mentioned this earlier. She and Jessica have updated the Shinnecock Women's Golf Association page on the website, and I'm pleased to hear that that seems to be continuing to have a positive impact on the number of members to the Women's Club. And I know, I'm pretty sure that Jessica has already had an initial conversation with Marie about the Women's Golf Month, and that's further down on the agenda to discuss what it is we're going to do this year.
Okay.
Can I be heard?
Oh, there's Todd. Welcome.
Oh my God. I'm so challenged. I've been logging in and so yes, I am here. I'm here. I feel like Horton from Horton Hears a Who. I am here. I am here. Anyway, sorry folks.
No worries.
I think Margaret, to your point, I think there's something with the month pickup. That stood out to me too.
Okay.
Why should there be substantial lost revenue with significant less lost rounds?
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we don't have our former workbook guru Jerry. But we'll try to get that sorted out.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you for that, Mark. Yeah, I know I see a lot of people sharing the post that you put out, that Eric, you put out in particular. So it's funny you say Wildlife Wednesdays. I see more of the historical stuff on Thursdays, the Throwback Thursdays, than I do the Wildlife Wednesdays. But they've been absolutely fascinating lately, so, and fun. So I know I see a lot of people sharing them out. So that's good. All right, next agenda item, status of goals and objectives.
So earlier, or I guess it was 2022, the GAB established objectives for the golf course for 2023. There are a number of goals. One was to improve player experience.
Yep.
And I think we'll be addressing that when we start making renovations to is it holes 4 and 5 and 6 in just a few weeks, I think, Eric, right? You said that project
3, 4, and 6.
3, 4, and
we-
6. Sorry.
Hopefully we'll be starting next week.
Oh, good.
And Eric, can you give us a little more detail about how long the whole project's going to take? And
I don't know exactly. They were saying maybe a month. You know, it really depends on weather. I think that's why they're not here yet, because they got held up on their previous job trying to finish it up. So
So are they going to start with 3, or are they going to start with 4 and then work their way back towards 3 and 6?
I don't know. My guess is they probably would go to the left of 3 first and work their way back. But I can not say that for sure.
Okay.
Eric, can you say exactly what they're doing for 3 and 6? I'm familiar with 4, but
So 3, they're redoing the 2 bunkers that are on the left side of the fairway. And the three fairway bunkers down at the base of the hill by the mound
Okay.
by Fort Green. So that
Awesome.
cluster of 3 right there.
yep.
4, we're redoing every bunker, the 4 bunkers on that hole, and kind of fixing up the area between the 2 bunkers on the left
Okay.
where it's all choppy.
Great.
And then bunkers by 6 green, the 2 there,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly the 2 just on the other side of the service road,
Yep.
Mhm.
and stripping and leveling the 7th white tee, and stripping, enlarging, and leveling the blue tee.
Wow.
So it's
I'm going to mention something about 6, just so you're aware of it. It came up in the men's club board meeting. The bunker on the left that you try to drive over on your tee balls. I fortunately have never had the experience, but apparently in the face of that bunker, there's a big rock that sometimes gets in the way. And
I
unless
think it's actually ledge in there.
yeah, so we talked about this at the City Men's Club. Like, it probably isn't anything that can be done short of putting in some dynamite, which I know is probably not in the cards. But
Right.
if you have any creative ideas on making that safer for people that are trying to play a shot from there, we're all ears. But
So it's it's the closest bunker to the fairway, right?
Yeah.
yeah, correct. Almost directly in front of the ladies' tees, if you would.
The forward tees.
Yeah, the forward tees. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, we can look at, I mean, if the ledge is on the side, or is it in the front of the face? Do you know exactly where?
I think it's in the front of the face, is what I'm told.
On the front, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing we could probably do is bury it with some dirt or something.
Okay.
but I'll take a look at it.
Again, not an immediate thing, but something as you're walking the course, which I know I see you do quite a bit, take a peek and see if you have any good ideas.
Yeah, like the bunker behind the green on the left there has a big exposed ledge, and we're just gonna, when they rebuild that bunker, they're just gonna bury it.
Right? Well, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
May I ask about the tee box for the forward tees on number 2? Is that going to get a just a
Yeah.
flat? We're eager.
Hopefully the shaper will be able to kind of push that around for us and create something much better than what's there now.
Mhm.
Great.
And then my plan was to, when they work on the 7th tees, we'll strip the grass off of there and use it to sod that tee
Oh, there you go.
Good. Yeah, great.
instead of trashing it.
Excellent.
All right. One of the other goals was to diversify player demographics. And I think we'll be talking about that a little bit when we get to the Shinnecock Scholarship Program. One of the other goals was to protect the golf course environment through environmental best practices, best management practices, and we're continuing to do that by maintaining our status as a Audubon certified cooperative sanctuary. And one of our other goals was to maintain a sound financial position for the course, which we have continued to be able to do given the robust play that's taken place over the last 3 years now. So that's kind of an update on the goals and objectives.
No, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, we'll cover the diversity piece, as you said, down below. So then, yeah, thank you, Mark and Todd, for the updates there. Unfinished business, the 2023 course and membership fees or the season passes. Technically. An update on that. Yeah.
We, Todd, Eric, and I went to the council. I don't remember if that was last week or the week before. Everything seems to blend together. To present the proposed
Last
rate,
Tuesday.
to the council. They made a motion to make a couple of changes to the course rates that had been proposed. They felt that we should continue with the senior golf cart rate. And that was included in their motion. And they also felt that we should go back to not raise the 9-hole league rate for residents, that we should maintain that at the 2022 rate, which was, we had proposed to increase it from 22 to 25, and doing the same also for non-residents. And their proposal, or their motion, was to keep that resident rate at $22. They also wanted to know what we were doing to provide opportunities for play for perhaps underserved or economically disadvantaged players, and made them aware that we currently didn't have kind of a program in place targeting that group, and they provided us with a directive that we should look at doing something, perhaps coming up with some kind of scholarship program. There wasn't a whole lot of direction other than they wanted the Golf Advisory Board to kind of come up with a plan.
Okay, and again, I think that's on the agenda down below for new business.
Is. And tomorrow night, the council will approve their motion that they made at the last council meeting.
Okay. So with, I know that one of or Todd, one of your goals for this year was to try and simplify the rate card. Is there still a hope of potentially doing that for next year?
Well, I think we did. We've
Yeah.
eliminated various different membership. I mean, we got rid of the Twilight. What else did we were able to get rid of?
The after,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
after 12 o'clock rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, right.
really, that just moved to 3 o'clock. So
Yeah.
yes, I mean, I think our goal will continue to be to
Okay.
try to simplify, the number of different membership types. They were pleased to see that we had added the adult active or retired military and the family active or retired military.
Okay. That's good. All right. Any questions, Dan or Marie?
No, none for me.
Nothing here.
Excellent. All right. Next topic, Women's Golf Month / Day.
Yeah, so last year we offered a discount.
Mhm.
I think it was throughout the month of June.
It was.
It was.
Women players, and because our next GAB meeting isn't until June, thought that it would be best to discuss this now,
Correct.
so that we can put a plan in place if we choose to do something to recognize Women's Golf Month.
So if I recall, last year, that month was pretty successful at increasing the number of women golfers on all days, right? During the week and on the weekends.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very popular.
So would there be an opportunity?
And generally speaking, the ladies would be with or bringing, either way you want to say,
Mhm.
one or two male golfers.
Yep.
And so I think there was a positive net for us. And also, I think it was a very positive support of a Women's Golf Month. I thought it was, and I still think it's the right thing to do, and I'm in favor of it.
Mhm.
Sounds like it'd be stupid to not do it again.
But I think that as a marketing tool, I mean, besides being a very good thing to do, but the women who are already course members, it really didn't benefit them, but directly. But I think it did because it brought in more people playing. And I know many women said, well, I invited my friend here to come play because, it just, it has, I think, just the potential to continue increasing our female membership and players. And it is appreciated. It was very much appreciated.
Mhm. So could we come back with something similar again for this year?
Would you like a
Yeah,
motion or?
To
do you
be
think
honest
this
with
more
you, I
discussion?
don't remember the details of the discount last year.
Yeah, I don't either. That's the reason I phrased it the way I did.
Yeah, I think it was $30, but I
So-
certainly have the flyer, or the town, the Park and Rec has
It
the
was
flyer.
$30 for 18 holes with a cart, Monday through Thursday all day, Friday through Sunday after 12.
Mhm.
Okay. B, we go to 35.
That certainly is reasonable.
Yeah, and offer a similar deal. Would that be a possibility, Todd, Eric, Mark?
I would say certainly. Certainly, I mean, I think, you know, we got a good number of ladies that enjoyed that discount.
Mm-hmm.
I think the $5 is, I think it's a distinction without a real difference. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have a problem with just continuing with a 30 in support of something very positive for the club and positive for supporting women's golf and bringing people to Shinnecock, who and as Marie had said, we're seeing a lot of ladies that are coming to our club from Pequot, and she said that there are a few that are coming from Fenwick, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an overall positive any way you want to look at it.
Yeah, I think some are even coming back from Stonington, right, Marie? What is
Yes, and even like anecdotally today, I was speaking to a woman in New York who summers in Groton Long Point. She's a member of Stonington, but she said, "Is there any place else I can play?" And I said, "Well, we have this, Shinnecock," and she said, "Send me a membership form."
Mm-hmm.
So we do have some people from the clubs that still want to play at Chenny.
Yep.
So it's yeah, I could go 30 or 35, but I think just in what you said about looking, I don't know, it's not as they pointed for economically, as an economic remediation, but to keep it at 30 might make a difference for
Yeah, for somebody.
and it would show that we're doing two things at once. I think expanding the demographic, but also doing it keeping the lid on the price, which is maybe consider raising it next year or something. But it's really up to you. I think it's.
I don't see for $5. I don't see a significant downside to being the facility that keeps it at 30. And I don't know, Eric, what do you think about that? Mark, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if we could keep it at 30 again this year, and then as Marie suggested, maybe look at next year adjusting the price. It kind of shows that shows a level of commitment to try to attract women golfers to the course.
Okay.
I'd rather be the club that kept it at 30 than the club that raised it $5.
No, that's fine. No, I'm good with that.
It's great.
Okay. And then maybe we can work with Jessica there too on some marketing pieces to let people know.
Well,
Yeah, that would be the
Facebook-
plan. That's why we had this discussion now, so that starting in May, we could really push it for the month of May prior to
Mhm.
start of the special.
There you go.
I mean, I was surprised. I was surprised last year with the groups that were coming out, and often there were 2 or 3 groups of lady golfers
Mhm.
that I had not seen before, and they came for that good deal, and I was happy to see it.
Yeah.
The word's out among the women. We've got a great course and a good league.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's really spreading.
I think that works. So I just trying to.
So to make this official, do we, Margaret, you want to make a motion?
Sure, we can do that. I make a motion that we declare June 2023 to be Women's Golf Month. And during that week, during the weekday, Monday to Thursday, we offer a $30 rate that includes the greens fees as well as a cart. And then on the weekends, afternoon would offer the same.
I'll second, but for the minutes, just want to make sure what happens on Friday. It's Monday through Thursday, 30, and Friday is
Friday's the weekend.
a weekend. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's afternoon time.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, I'll second that motion.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next topic, Shinnecock Scholarship Program. So I don't know, Mark, if you can give a little
Again-
background, yeah.
Sure, I was just going to say, you know, when Eric, Todd, and I presented our rates, one of the questions we were asked is, you know, what program we had in place to attract golfers, you know, I would to diversify the membership at the golf course. And we did, I did talk about what we had done to, you know, increase the women's participation at the golf course, and also that we had, you know, we're targeting youth playing, but I don't think was the answer that they were looking for. I think they certainly appreciated that fact, but we're looking for a greater diversity of players, or the opportunity for a diversity of players to be able to play at the golf course, including folks that financially perhaps could not afford to play golf, but would like to. And we're asked to kind of come up with a plan that would address what they considered a priority.
Have they done any market research to understand how large is this interested lower income demographic that wants to play?
No.
I mean, I think before you invest any specific time or money into it, you should have an idea of how many people are looking to play. But then from there, it's much different than just, hey, here's reduced greens fees, because then there's the matter of clothing and getting golf clubs for all these people. Like, it's a lot more than just a reduced green fee, and maybe the town's not considering all these different factors. And it's one thing if you're doing it of a pool of 10 or 20 kids from low income family that would like to play versus 200 or 300, right? I guess my thought is I would be happy to volunteer some time to try and help, but it's a lot more than just coming up with a creative idea.
Something that occurs to me, if I say, the family tees are in place. And we're trying to get people initiated to golf, or, no, I don't have any solutions here, but I just think that that's one new element that was put into place that may fall into this a bit, just a thought to consider.
Yeah, but I mean, I think when you really think about it too, Marie, I mean, very small percentage of people can pick up a golf club and start playing, right? There's a whole teaching process that needs to be gone through. So to
Mhm.
really do this effectively and have folks that actually benefit from it, you would need to get, someone probably at Great Brook to volunteer some teaching time and give some group classes. What that again goes to, what's the size of the group that's potentially interested in this?
And what is their interest, right? So,
Yeah.
do they really want to go out and play 18 holes a week? Do they just want to kind of chip around, play with some smaller scale?
Right.
We don't know. We just don't know.
Would it be something like through Park and Rec to set up more affordable golf lessons? I mean, again, you're absolutely right. You can't just start with a club and go at it. Well, I've tried.
We all have.
We all have. Yeah, I mean, so what kind of potential path would there be for somebody who wanted to take up golf? And what age do we target? Do we target youngsters? Do we target middle schoolers and high schoolers? Are we targeting adults that may want to pick up the game?
I would also venture a guess that the PGA or the First Tee Foundation or someone like that probably has some sort of roadmap to help a course put this stuff together. I don't know how patient the town is, Mark, but if they can be patient till the next gab, I can at least I can do some research with the First Tee and the PGA to see what sort of programs they have that could be possibly copied for us. But again, I think
Yeah, I think that's a terrific suggestion, and I don't know, Todd, I'm sure as the golf pro, you keep up with what the PGA is doing, and have they?
Absolutely. There is a program in place where they have clinics that basically are offered at very little cost, and facilities like ours have donated hundreds of golf clubs to the PGA so that they would have clubs to offer and to make available to the kids to learn the game. I've donated my time. Casey, I know, has donated his time for the clinics, and yeah, there's the PGA is all about that, and there is a program in place for that. We can certainly augment what they do with something that we do. So yeah, that's definitely food for thought.
So where is the closest First Tee offering? Do you know?
It's mostly around the Hartford area. I think Keeney, Eric, am I wrong about that? I think Keeney had run a program. I know that
The First Tee is based out of Cromwell at TPC.
I know that Frank Silva was he had retired a couple of years ago, but Frank was the chair of that effort, and at his facility, which I'm blanking on his facility's name, but yeah, there is a big effort to do that.
Something if I could just say, too, I think
Okay.
that's really a good, important way to go, for sure. I'm on the Groton Public Library Board, have been about half my life, but what we have done, I say really the staff has done, that has made such a difference of having teens, and particularly the teens, which are the hardest group to work with or get attracted into the library, is that the teen librarian, she has partnered with the teachers, and she probably spends maybe 20% each week at the schools. And thought that, and it has, the benefits now are really starting to, they're really robust. From her being on site and knowing the people, just thinking about the PE teachers at the school district, maybe even a kind of a initial meeting to see if we could, if the curriculum, the PE curriculum could have a, you know, some golf focus. And
Yeah, so the closest one is in Branford.
I'm
There's
thinking
a-
about our Groton phys ed teachers.
Yeah, that's if we're, yeah, exactly, if we're targeting kids.
Right, for kids.
There used to be an offering at Elmridge, just on the First Tee site. It doesn't look like they have anything this fall or this summer or spring. Sorry, can't even figure out where I am.
What's the process to become a First Tee site? Is there an application and a cost to that?
I'd have to have a conversation with Tom Hankey about that, and, you know, find out about it. Because I don't know. I think their spring is fairly well set for the spring, and the season is pretty well set for that, but I can certainly give them a call and find out, or talk to Dennis in the Connecticut section, and find out, you know, if we want to make available something closer to our kids, you know, what would that look like and what would the process be?
So the executive director is a guy named Mark Moriarty. Mark Murnane is the program director.
Okay, well, ultimately, it comes from Tom Hankey. Tom Hankey is the executive director of the Connecticut PGA, so, no, he's the first person that I would call to find out about it. And if he directs me in Mark's direction, then that's what I'll do. But my first call is going to be with Tom Hankey.
Okay, cool.
I can report back to this board about that.
Yeah, Howie Friday is the Connecticut PGA representative. And Ian Marshall,
Yeah. Yep.
you know those guys.
I do.
And I think, Dan, that would be a really kind of interesting to bring a First Tee, something like that in to help with, that had an established program and an established structure, just to kind of give us something to start with.
Right.
I think it would be really
One
cool.
thing
I
that-
also- Go ahead, Todd.
One thing that's a hindrance is the fact that we don't have a driving range.
Yeah, they can,
just
you've
don't
got
have
driving
very much
ranges
room.
nearby.
Where?
Well, you got Great Brook, you've got,
I know Great Brook is a separate business, and, you know, whereas I had a relationship with Bill at East Lyme Driving Range, that's a huge range, and that was feasible. Birch Plain, I had a relationship with those folks there. Those two places are closed. Mark is running a business over at his place, so I can certainly give him a call and talk to him about it after I talk to Tom Hankey about, you know, what does it all entail and what is involved and all of that. But at our facility, we can accommodate, we run camps for the kids. We run a beginning camp, and we run an advanced camp every year at our club, and having the hill, the practice area, it can accommodate the 10 or so, 10, 11, 12 kids that we have sign up. We can accommodate them there, but not very many more.
Yeah,
There's
but they're
not a
not all
lot of
run
room
at
to
one
do that.
time, right? But maybe you have
I'm
like
sorry?
several times during the week, you can get 10 kids in so that you can create something a little bit bigger. Doesn't all have to be at one time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay,
worth
yes, I mean-
exploring before we start. I mean, I guess I should check myself too, but before we start finding reasons why not to do it, let's figure out what would actually be entailed. What would it in doing something like this?
Right, right.
I mean, there may be
Which is
opportunities. to
why I-
partner, yeah. So we'll talk to Tom Hankey or whoever it is that's running the first tee.
I would, I would guess probably what's most important, Mark Barry, for you is to tell the town that this is not the sort of thing you snap your fingers and it happens. Like this is, it's going to be a lengthy process to get something like this structured. So let them know that it's being researched, but they can't expect a program to be up and running by middle of summer, right? It's going to be probably much more lengthy than that.
Yeah, I think there's perhaps elements that they didn't really think about was, clubs. And,
Yep.
we don't have a supply of youth clubs and
Or even adult.
teaching time.
Yep.
I mean, there's components to this, but I think, it's a good first step. Looking at and getting guidance from the PGA on, what they have done, what they've seen work, what hasn't worked, and applying that and,
Mhm.
coming up with a plan that best meets the resources that we can provide
Mhm.
to such a program.
Good. Gives us a good place to at least get started. And does that tie in a little bit with revenue diversity? Or I think really that revenue diversity, we used that discussion a couple of years ago to come up with the associate junior, and some of these other classifications for season passes.
Yeah, the revenue diversity is, we've kind of assigned a discussion topic to most of the GAB meetings, and revenue diversity is assigned to the topic for the for the April Golf Advisory Board meeting.
Yep. So it feels like with some of the decisions that we've made this year around the season passes, that we've addressed this topic kind of on an ongoing basis. And perhaps we could, I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to offer up for this topic, but perhaps this year, we take a pass on this particular topic, given that we've been discussing it on an ongoing basis, really, with all the different season pass classifications since the fall of last year. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Well, I
Question.
think that that our addition with the associate and associate plus was a tremendous success.
Mhm.
And it was such a positive program to transition our youth and students into a membership type that they're actually able to afford, instead of cutting them loose to be on their own until they can finally afford the adult regular membership or the adult economy membership.
So actually, that's a,
So I think we're so proactive as far as getting people involved in the game, getting people involved with Shinnecock. I mean, we've shown that on a few different
so,
facets.
so given that this has now been around for several years, do we start measuring the number of golfers who go from that associate plus to the full rate on a year-over-year basis of the ones who are eligible, just to see if in fact it is doing what we expected it to do, and that is to allow people to transition into the full rate? Do we have example? I mean, are we seeing people who are associates or associate pluses making that transition?
Well, yes, we have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can look into the memberships and look at, you know, track our associate pluses and see how they went. But I mean, we're carrying them through their 30s.
Well, to
And
35.
if they're right, and if they're inclined to be a member someplace, then certainly they would continue to be a member at Shinnecock. We already had them for more than 10 years.
Yeah, but are we exactly? Are we measuring that conversion rate?
No, we're not.
Maybe we should think about starting to measure, given that we've been in this for a few years, start measuring that conversion rate and making sure that the intended, because to your point, the intended objective of this was to allow people to kind of ramp up their careers and ramp up their income levels to a point that when they hit that age, that they would then transition directly into the full membership, and we would get the full benefit of that.
Sure. Well, we have a small snapshot of that. I think it's been, this is the 4th year that we've had those two categories.
Yep.
Something like that. But yeah, I mean, I can see, I can try to get some information for you folks.
Okay. I mean, that's how we'll measure the success of it in the end, is how many of those golfers we can convert to full members.
Well, the fact that we have them as members is, in my mind, a success in its own, because they wouldn't have been members if we hadn't had that category.
I understand
because they
that.
wouldn't have been able to afford the 1,700 or even the 1,530, but we have them. We have a strong number of those folks, and just because we have a strong number of those folks, I'm saying it's a success.
No, I'm not saying it's not a success.
And so an aspect of that, which was kind of part of the whole thing about that, was that we were helping them transition to, hopefully, a full membership.
Right.
That's one small aspect. That's one small aspect of the whole program. But the fact that we have a bunch of members that joined under those two categories is a tremendous success on its own.
No, of course, but I think it's time, now that we've been doing this for 4 years, it's time to start measuring that conversion rate, because that's part of why we were doing that, is to help them get started, but also keep them in the game of golf and keep them playing at Shenny. So if we can show that we have success of taking those youth into associate into associate plus, and then associate plus into adult, then I think we've really shown that success on a slightly different level, a higher level. Not saying it's not successful, agree that it is successful, but especially since those folks at any other golf course would be treated as limited members and we allow them to be treated as full members. I think it's been tremendously successful, but the true measure of this is them continuing on as members of Shenny into their years beyond 35.
Well, that certainly is one small aspect of it, but the fact is that we have provided a vehicle to get revenue from these folks that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And that's our objective is
So are you
create.
keeping people who are aging out at the associate plus level?
I just said that I have not tracked that, Margaret.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just making the point that we have created a category, a vehicle for our revenue that we wouldn't otherwise have had.
No, I know. I was
Which is a
originally the
very
one that
important thing of,
recommended it.
which is a very
get it.
important thing of what we do.
Yep, and I was certainly right there when recommending it when we originally started having the discussion. So I think it is a
That's
very
exact-
important category. I have no
Yep.
question on that. I'm just
Yep,
offering.
I will try. I'll try to get some information for y'all.
Super. All right. All right, next agenda item is the next meeting date, which I think is June 5th or 6th.
What is the date, just for the minutes?
June 5th or 6th.
June 5th.
June 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the last thing on the agenda, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second.
Yep. All those in favor? Aye, meeting
Aye.
adjourned. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks,
Thank you
Thank you
everybody.
very much. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
See you on the
Okay.
course of the
Have a good
weekend.
night.
Enjoy the game
I have a
tonight.
question.
Oh,
I have
oh,
a question.
oops, sorry.
Yes.
Is this, is the Golf Advisory Board part of the town's ABC? Or is it not? Like it's a subgroup, but it's not part of the definition of. The reason I'm asking is on the RTM, I can't be on committees. Well, I'm a liaison to here, but I can't join.
Mm-mm.
But my understanding is this is an advisory one and that part of the charter doesn't apply. In which case I would apply for membership as a
So
resident
Clarence,
golfer.
yeah, I was recently asked to join the RTM to backfill Miss White, Lee White. And part of it was that I would have to resign from this committee. So I chose not to.
Yeah, and I'm not, okay, so you think it is then part of the.
That's
but
what I
it's
was
not
told.
listed,
That's what I
but
was
it's
told.
Okay. Was Chris Connolly ever on as a member?
No, she had your role.
She had my role, okay. It's a kind of a frustrating role if you're a golfer.
Well, but maybe it would be a good question to ask Jill Rusk or somebody again.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll ask Betsy, she would.
Yeah, there you go. Still not joining the RTM.
Yeah, I may not run again in 4 terms, but
Wow. Okay. Super.
Okay,
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Night,
everybody.
everybody.
Okay, good night all.
Go Yukon.
Yeah, go UConn for
Okay,
sure.
good night.
Go Aztecs. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah. Good night, y'all.
Night.
Just said